We have about 7 seconds before I go live. Right now, I'm going to continue letting individuals in. My Mortgage Move Mondayers in. And Emeka, you can let me know. Hey guys, welcome to Mortgage Move Mondays. I decided to wear my little green blazer since it is St. Patrick's Day. Want to get into the theme of things, but welcome. I am your loan officer, Natasha Robinson, MLS number 332074. Today, our topic is how much home can you really afford, and breaking down mortgage payments, because a lot of people don't really understand what goes into the mortgage payments, and they also don't understand, which I don't have a slide for that today, why at the end of your mortgage you owe like 40 times the amount of the actual mortgage. So I want to explain that to you guys today. Also some benefits for having the mortgage and having the payment and everything that's broken down into it as well. And just a little housekeeping rules. This is Mortgage Moves Monday. You always can drop a feedback in the chat. You can come on the mic if you have any questions. I know we are live on several platforms. When we see your questions, if we don't get them back in the conversation, we will definitely get back to you with those questions. The best way to get your questions answered immediately is to click the link and register for the Zoom, and we can see those responses a little better. Also, there's no such thing as a bad question. You're making the first step today towards homeownership or for learning more about homeownership because you are here today. And lastly, we don't gatekeep on Mortgage Moves Mondays. I give you all the information you need to be dangerous, and I want you to do the same. So I was at an event the other day, and they said that if you are a shining bright light, to take your light and shine it on someone else. So if you are here today and motivated and in the process of becoming a homeowner, and you know somebody in your circle that is not, but you know they can be, and they just need your light, invite them to our next Mortgage Move Monday so we can shine the light on them and get them to their home ownership goals. So what factors determine your mortgage payment, right? So a mortgage payment consists of 4 things sometimes, depending on how much money you're putting down on the property, right? So you have the total amount that you're borrowing on the home. I'm going to use a number, $100,000 for an example. If you are purchasing a home for $100,000 and you have to put 5% down, that is $5,000. And yes, that's all you have to put down on a 2, 3, 4 unit conventional loan, or any conventional loan, for, as a matter of fact, because I know a lot of people think you have to put 20% down. So 3 to 5% on 1 unit, and then 5% on 2 to 4 unit properties. So the loan amount is what you're borrowing. It's what you owe. The money that you put down, that is your equity. So if you put $5,000 down, you owe $5,000 less, and you're walking into the property with $5,000 in equity. Now, over time, as the property appreciates, you can gain more equity, but in the door, that $5,000 is not closing costs, it's not paying a fee, it is simply lowering the balance that you owe on that mortgage payment, right? The next thing we're going to talk about is your interest rate. That is a hot topic, right? Interest rates are what they say up right now. But for those of you who don't know, I've been a loan officer over 20 years. And when I first started, interest rates were exactly the same as what they are today. And like the sneakers that you eat, right? Snickers candy bar, gas, lumber, everything, milk. Have y'all seen the cost of eggs and butter lately? Like, it is just ridiculous. But as time goes on, prices normally go up, right? Interest rates normally go up. We had a situation in the world where it allowed interest rates to go down, and it's making people think that they are going to be there again. I don't think so. Doesn't mean it won't happen. But what I tell my clients is if you can afford your mortgage payment, then purchase the home. Because if you're affording rents right now, you're helping someone else pay off their home. One thing about a mortgage, regardless of the interest rate, that is a fact, is after 30 years or whatever term you commit to on your mortgage, it is paid in full after that term. So after 30 years, you now have a house that is free and clear that you can utilize to retire, right? And live off Social Security or whatever your retirement plan is. You can use it as wealth. You can use it as an investment. You can use it as assets to pack up and go away. You can leave it for your family, but it still turns into an asset. Whereas if you rent for 20 years, and don't worry, because I know some of my people have, and that's okay, because we're here tonight You can rent for 30 years, and then guess what? You're going to have 30 more years of paying someone else's rent. Or if you start with a mortgage, now you're starting 30 years late. So if you are that person, understand that you get 0% on interest when you pay rent. But interest rate impacts your monthly payment significantly. Some people, I'm going to give an example of 450,000 because I know this one because I looked it up for someone. When the rates were about 3% at 450,000, at 2.875, that was the difference between now at 6.5 of maybe like a $500 to $600 payment. That's higher than what they would have paid back in the day. Now, if you take $100,000 loan, it may only be the difference of $80. So the higher your loan amount, the more rate conscious, the more the rate affects your payment, the lower it doesn't affect it as much, right? You have a loan term. That term can be 15 years. It could be 30 years, right? For all my people out here refinancing because they need cash right now and they're coming out of these very low interest rates. If you've been in your mortgage for 7 years and you want to refinance, at the very least, get a 25-year term, get a 20-year term. Don't start all over again because it's going to look like they're saving you all of this money when they're really not. You're starting over. So if you're almost done paying for your home and you refinance, you're starting that 30-year over again, but you have the ability to go to a 10-year or a 5-year or a 20-year to ease the pain so you can get back to that paid in full home. Other things included in your mortgage payment are your property taxes. How are property taxes calculated? They are calculated by your municipality. So we are simply pulling the tax bill from, if you're in Chicago, from the Cook County Treasurer, any state that you have, we're pulling that tax document and we are just plugging in that number. What is plug in? I am just basically inserting a number that someone else is giving me, and then I'm going to utilize that to calculate your mortgage payment. The lender, Natasha, does not determine what your taxes are going to be and your insurance, right? Homeowners insurance. This is another quote that you will get so you can understand how much the homeowners insurance is on your property. So once again, we're going through everything in the mortgage payment, and then I'm going to slowly break that down for you as well. Now we have private mortgage insurance, right? Private mortgage insurance is what you pay when you don't put 20% down. Let me explain to you how that works. You're purchasing a property for $100,000, right? You put 5% down. So basically you put $5,000 down on this particular property. $15,000 makes your loan a little risky. Let me tell you why. If you stop paying your mortgage, if you foreclose, or whatever the situation is, it is very likely that in order for the bank to foreclose on you, pay for attorney fees, get you out of the house, that they're going to spend more than $5,000, okay? They make you get what's called private mortgage insurance. The private mortgage insurance gives the mortgage company insurance on that difference between that 20% and that 80%. At 80%, 9 times out of 10, if you mess up, they can get out of that property and they can get it to someone else and they can keep going and not lose that much money. But the lowest money that we put down on these properties, the more of a risk the loan is, right? So they utilize third-party companies to spread the risk, and that is why you have what's called monthly PMI. PMI can be paid monthly. It can also be paid in lump sum, but you normally will have some type of private mortgage insurance if you are not putting 20% down. Now, I always get one last question, and it's not in this slide. And that question is, why do I have to pay 3 insurances? So there is one more insurance, and that insurance is called upfront mortgage insurance. You only see this when you have a VA or an FHA loan. If you have an FHA loan, on every single loan, you will pay 1.75% in upfront mortgage insurance in addition to your monthly. No matter what, you're going to pay that upfront mortgage insurance and you're going to pay that monthly on an FHA loan, regardless of even if you put 20% down, okay? There are some perks if you put 10% down or if you do a 180-month term, but you're going to pay it regardless, which is why you want to make sure you have a good lender that's going to make sure you're in the right program. Now, this PMI, don't worry. It's not something that you're going to pay at closing. It's not a due at closing fee, but it is a fee. And what FHA does is they add it to your loan amount. So if you were purchasing a home for $100,000, You put 5% down, now you're at $95,000. If the private mortgage insurance is $2,000, your loan amount will be $97,000. So they're going to lump that number on top of your loan amount, and you're either going to pay them back in 30 years or when you refinance and sell that property. And if anybody has questions, you can feel free to definitely leave those questions in the chat. But once again, we're just going over kind of what a mortgage payment is. HOA, homeowner association fees, right? If you purchase a condo, sometimes a townhome, and very seldom a single family, but some single families have like the shared grass when you come in, and it's pretty beautiful when you're coming into the gated area. Sometimes they'll have some cheap HOA fees. But if you have HOA fees, these are also fees that will be associated with your pre-approval process. However, you will always pay the condo association, the HOA fees, and then you will pay your mortgage as a separate fee. So once again, we're going to break that down. You have your principal and interest, you have your insurance, you have your taxes. If you don't put 20% down, you might have monthly mortgage insurance. And if it's a condo, you may have condo association fees. So definitely keep that in mind. Understanding the 30% rule of affordability. I left this slide in, guys, because I normally don't talk about this that much, because we don't look at affordability at the 30% rule, right? So this is for you. And the reason why this is for you is because we are in a crazy market, unpredictable market, in my opinion, the most uncomfortable for me. Like, this is the most uncomfortable market. I was fine through COVID. I was younger. It's different from when you're trying to get there, right? To the numbers and all of that stuff, and then trying to maintain them. Believe it, is harder. I love being the underdog because it's just easy. You just wake up and go, and whatever happens, happens, right? But with the 30% rule is you don't want to spend any more than 30% of your gross monthly income on housing costs, right? If you earn $5,000 a month, you don't want your mortgage to be $1,500. This helps you maintain financial stability while meeting other expenses. We do not know if you have a gambling problem. We don't know if you are like me with a kid at Howard with the most disrespectful tuition bill that I received for April 1st, right? You don't know. We don't get to see your other expenses, right? We don't get to see other habits, other things. You may have a Starbucks problem. You may get 3 cups of coffee every day for $5 or $7 a coffee. Who knows? That's your business. But what you want to make sure is that, and you need to understand it as the lender, you have a different qualifying debt to income ratio for me. This 30% rule is for you. But guess what my percentage is? 46.99 on FHA. Right? So with this same number, the $5,000, I'm going to allow you to basically have a good $2,300 mortgage payment, right? Over the 30%. But guess what else may happen? You may be on a loan, and you may have a husband or a significant other that helps you on the bills. Your mom may live with you. You may have a side business where you're getting extra money. So once again, nobody knows the true real story of what is going on in your life. You just want to make sure that 30% is a good number for you, so that way you can stay abreast. But as a lender, I can go 46.99, and then I can go 50% on conventional. So depending on the loan that you're in, you have a lot of buying power. But what you can afford to buy from your lender and what you can afford to buy at home are two different numbers. So when you're shopping, just make sure you can afford the mortgage. Understand, yes, it's great to get pre-approved and buy a house for the first time, but it's also great to keep your home and not have any hardships. So definitely buy what you can afford and try to maintain great credit. So I know we can do loans as low as 580. That is amazing. But we are in a market. I just had a situation where I had to go pull a quick credit card, 0 interest for 12 months to pay something so I could come back and deal with it later. I know, it's a business opportunity. I know it's going to make me some money. But the point is that I had the credit to do so. So you want to make sure that you are maintaining your credit. Open your mail. Make sure that you are getting your bills sent to your house where you live, not where your mother, your auntie lives, where your car insurance is. Because when those collectors call you, if you open that mail and you making a payment plan, you can prevent them from putting things on your score, and then you can become aware of what's going on. So that way you don't negatively affect your credit. You always want to get your mail. Most people have bad credit because they do not live at the address where their mail is going, and they are not getting that mail that they need to see, so that way they can know what's going on and fix the problem before it becomes in a problem. Most people will email you or call you a few times before they just put something on your credit. So definitely keep that in mind as well. So that's just like a little 30% speech, but don't worry, I can definitely approve you higher than 30%. How are we going to break down your mortgage payment? You have principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, okay? So that's your total mortgage payment. We talked about that today. You can use online calculators, but most important, I have an app. So if you're my client and you get pre-approved, you can download the Guaranteed Rate Affinity app, select me as your loan officer. Once you log in, and it honestly should be the same login that you have for your documents, you'll be able to see your scenario, your pre-approval, your conditions, your file, and you'll be able to run payments. You'll be able to run estimated payments on the properties that you see that you may want to put an offer on. And always, I send them out to my clients as well. So when you get a pre-approval, I issue a borrower summary with the breakdown, but I also give updated ones as you change your mind on different properties, and your negotiations may be different, right? You may be purchasing for $250, and then now you want to purchase for $400, but you may have lower taxes on this one and higher taxes on that one. But that's what you have a real estate professional for, so we can help guide you through the finish line. And just for you guys, I did a few examples for you, so just so you can have an idea, right, of how much things cost. So if you were purchasing a house for $200,000, you put 5% down, you're financing $190,000, right? If the interest rate is 7%, your principal and interest, this is just your principal and interest, is $1,264. Once again, we're talking plug-in numbers. If your taxes and your insurance are $200 for the taxes and $100 in insurance, and your private mortgage insurance is $120, you have a mortgage payment of $1,684 on a $200,000 home. Now, right now, our interest rates are in the sixes, so don't let that 7 scare you. I just wanted to give you a good scenario just so you can see the breakdown of where we go and where we finish. Because as you can see, we started with $1,264, which is what you see on your pre-approval, and you get excited, but then you have to add that mortgage insurance, those taxes, that insurance, and now at $200,000 with 5% down, you're looking at a mortgage of $1,684. Well, let's look at another scenario, because this is over 30 years, guys, right? So this is a 30-year term. So when you add $100,000, you get to see how it moves the payment, right? If you go buy a $100,000 Range Rover, your car note will probably be $1,900, right? So it would jump up by $1,900 because you're financing it over 5 years or 7 years or whatever we do for our cars. So in this scenario at $300,000, if we put 5% down, $15,000, and keep in mind, we do have down payment assistance programs, and we have ways the seller can assist with closing costs. So we do have other options, but today we're talking about the mortgage payment. Your loan amount will be $285,000. At 7%, your mortgage payment is $1,896, right? So $630 more for $100,000 more, right? So that is crazy, because a lot of times people think, if they are purchasing something higher, that it's going to make the payment be $3,000 more. So I always tell my clients, get pre-approved first so you can make sure you're looking at houses with the payment that you can afford. But this payment will start at $1,896. Once we add the PMI goes up, it's factored off the loan amount. So this PMI is a little higher, and this PMI is a little high in this example. If you have really good credit, PMI would probably be about $70, right? But in this particular situation, you are looking at about $2,376 a month for a mortgage payment. So once again, just letting you know how it looks when you're going through. And when you're getting pre-approved, it's about $75 to $85 more for every $10,000 that you add to the loan on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Did we have any questions, Emeka? I saw one, I thought, but I don't see any. I can't see the message screen. Awesome. We do DSCR loans. I'm actually going to be doing a whole topic on that. I have a new team member, Ben. I told him you're going to be the DSCR king just about 2 hours ago. So with that being said, DSCR loan is a very wonderful, amazing loan. It's pretty much for investors. you're looking at, 20 to 30% down. We don't look at any of your documents, no income, or any of your income documents. We're only looking at the money that you have and the particular property. Generally on a DSCR loan, when we take the market rent, so say for instance, the market rents are $2,000, then 75% is $1,500. So in most scenarios, they want the mortgage with taxes, insurance, and all of the stuff we just talked about not to exceed 75% of the rent. So if the mortgage is $1,400 or less, the rents are $2,000, boom, you just put your money down with your credit score. We order an appraisal, we're closing in 2 weeks. It's one of the easiest, fastest closed loans on the market, and it's absolutely amazing. So definitely keep that in mind if you need it to grow your portfolio, but it is more for an investment, and the minimum credit score on that loan is 660. But once you're in that 680, 700, 720 range, you're going to have some nicer interest rates. I have heard that there are some DSCR loans that you do not have to cash flow the property, but with every situation, the higher the LTV and things like that, the higher the interest rate. So we can always do a one-on-one with you to let you know if DSCR is a good loan for you. If you're someone who actually makes good income and you're good to go, or you want to be a house hacker first, we can walk you through all of that to help you get to the finish line. Yes, is that the last question, Ms. Samika? Oh, I can see the chat box now. Let's see if I can see. Awesome. Yeah, I'm learning this technology thing. I'm gonna get there though, I promise y'all. The key to finding your dream home isn't just about what you want. It's about knowing what you can afford, right? So remember that. And also remember, you do not have to purchase your forever home on your first round. When I first started, I bought a property on Roosevelt and Keeler. It was in a rough area. I did live there. My family lived there. My dad lived there. We lived there for a little while. We gained equity. I moved to my second home. It was nice, but definitely wasn't my dream home. And believe it or not, I still don't live in my dream home, guys. I was able to purchase a really nice Greystone, and I was able to rehab it. But I haven't moved to my dream home yet, right? So with that being said, I've been in real estate for a long time, and I still don't live in my dream home. So I prefer to live in my dream home when I'm retired and I can enjoy it every day. That's me. Everyone's different, but I still have a nice home. It's just not my dream home. But with that being said, don't think that you have to buy your dream home first. There is a such thing as called house hacking. That's what I did. It's when you start with a 4-unit, go to a 2-unit, then purchase your single family, then take equity or sell the first 1 or 2 properties and use that to buy multiple units, and then carry on and buy your dream home when you're able to, when you want to, when it makes sense for your family. So keep in mind that you do have that as an option too. What about subject to? Okay, come on with the questions, Rachel. So I love it. I love questions. So keep coming them through. So subject to means that you are purchasing a home that is subject to certain repairs. So I'm not for sure if I'm answering your question as you want it, Rachel. So if if I don't answer it right, let me know and I can keep going with it. But when you purchase a property and it is needing some repairs, the appraiser will appraise it subject to the roof being completed or subject to the floors being installed, right? So that happens in 2 situations. It happens when you're doing new construction and the developer isn't finished with some things yet. So we do have a developer program for the developer to help them put money into escrow to finish certain things that can't be finished, whether it's weather related or whether it's during COVID, it was the timing of getting the materials and things like that. Another subject to is on what's called a renovation loan. So if an appraisal comes back subject to, you have 2 options. You can ask the seller to fix the things that are subject to. So the property has appraised for this set amount as long as you fix the roof, right? So if you have that situation, the seller can make the repairs, or you can go into a renovation loan. And when I say 203K, you should say all day, because I offer not only the 203K loans, but everything renovation, which includes home style renovation, home choice renovation, VA renovation. And what you all know about is the 203K standard and streamline renovation. And there is a new loan coming. I've been practicing it. It's called the OTC, one-time close, which is new construction, up to 4 units on a vacant land. So we do have a lot of options for you guys as it relates to programs. Did I answer that question right, Rachel? Oh, you said meaning you take the loan over? I'm not for sure what you mean. You want to come on speaker? I don't want to put you on the spot. I just want to make sure I answer your question. We'll come back to Rachel if she has that. I think another thing Rachel can be saying, so she's asking about a takeover. She may have a situation where somebody else owns the home and she wants to put that property in her name. So FHA will sometimes let you assume the mortgage, meaning you can call them, give the documents, and you can assume that person's mortgage, or you can refinance and pay them off. So those are two other options. But Rachel, hopefully we answered that question for you. Okay, she said, yes, that's it. Okay, well, yes, you can, we call it assume the mortgage. So if you have somebody that has a mortgage and they have a 2.875 interest rate, and you can go through the process of assuming their mortgage, they won't exchange any money, right? So if you're saying, hey, I'm gonna give you 50 extra thousand or 5 extra thousand, or it's a family member, if it's an FHA loan, it generally is assumable. So you would just call the servicer and see how you can submit the documents to basically assume that mortgage. And anything that you owe the other party, you guys will work that out amongst yourself. But thank you for your questions. Hidden costs, right? A lot of people don't like to talk about hidden costs, but I'm not a salesperson, believe it or not. So hidden costs to consider, right? And we're talking about on the lending side, hidden costs could be original discount points. Sometimes with competitors, I had a client, it kind of broke my heart. She went with another lender. That's not what broke my heart. Don't worry, that happens. But she went with another lender, and she said he gave her a better rate, right? So my rate probably was 6%. His rate probably was 5.5. And she was having problems with him. And then when I received the paperwork, he was charging her $15,000 in discount points for the interest rate. So when I was able to explain it to her, I was able to basically let her know her payment had only decreased by $75, but it was costing her $15,000, which did not make sense. So some hidden costs, like in the lender world, is just always watch the discount points. You will pay them sometimes. Sometimes you can get the seller pay them, but I never recommend you paying $15,000 on a rate because we're in an unpredictable market. And if you refinance too soon, that's just equity gone. So understand that. But hidden costs, what we're talking about today, are the things that I mentioned, right? You have your light bill, your gas bill, right? You got internet, you have all of the new things that we're paying for every month. You have maintenance. You may have an older car, your car break down, you got to get the car fixed. You got to move. You got to pay for the movers. You got to pay for storage. You got to pay setup fees, right? You want to repaint. You want to decorate. You want the new bedroom set. But please don't buy until after you close on the home. But just really do a good financial analysis. And you know, a lot of people may not know this about me, but like I came from having absolutely nothing. And when I purchased my home, my friends, they got on my nerves, and I got on their nerves because I refused to furnish my whole house. One of my good girlfriends, she bought her house. I was so jealous of her. She bought her house. She furnished every room. It was so amazing, and it was so beautiful. And I didn't know how she did it because I know how expensive things are. And my house is huge. So what I did was I did a room at a time at my convenience. So I did all the kids' bedrooms and my bedrooms first. And of course, my kitchen, because those were the most, in my bathrooms, because those were the things that we needed all the time. But I didn't finish my basement until probably about 13 years later, right? And unfortunately, I did my garage like 13 years later as well, because I didn't want to finance it. I wanted to be able to pay for it. So with that being said, I'm not saying that has to be your trajectory, but don't worry about keeping up with the Jones or impressing someone. As long as you're impressing yourself and you're doing what you can afford to do, go at your own pace, right? But do comparisons. So like if you have a situation where you're buying a house and you want to rehab the kitchens and the bathrooms, and it's going to cost you $30,000, right? You can do a renovation loan that may only cost you $225 to not have to wait 17 years, right? But if you were going to get a furniture and furniture a whole house, and that's going to cost you extra $1,400 that you can't afford, if you can't afford it, just wait until you can. I promise you, the stress of not forcing it will help you be able to afford it with no stress at all over time. So just a little Natasha Robinson dab there. How to improve your affordability, improve your credit scores to see better rates, right? That is crazy because I literally was doing a project and I had a lot of credit card debt, and I was looking at my statements. It was like 777, 522, like $3,000 a month in payments because I was using the wrong cards, right? I wasn't paying attention to that because it was a unique situation, but that me borrowing that money was costing me like $3,000 a month. Right. So now that I'm aware of that, I was able to maneuver, do some 0%, move some money around. So I wasn't paying that much money. But keep in mind, the better your credit score, the better you are to maneuver, right? Save for a larger down payment if you can to reduce monthly costs. I don't think that you should wait to own a home to put more money down, right? Get in there the way you can afford to get in there. But if you have more money and you have a situation where you could put yourself in a situation where you're gonna be okay, like right now, our 401ks are not doing the best with our great president in office. We know that things are gonna get better. However, right now it's a little rocky. So maybe instead of you taking a higher interest down payment assistance program that's making your payment go up $300, maybe it's better to borrow from your 401k, which isn't really costing you anything. You're just paying it back over time, right? So just always want to utilize the resources that are available for you. Consider first-time homebuyer programs or down payment assistance. I do offer IDA, I offer CHAC, I offer Chenoa. So we have a lot going on, right? So keep that in mind as well, and explore different loan types, right? We have FHA loans, VA loans, conventional. Find the loan that's the best for you, not what's easiest for the loan officer. So once again, lots of options available for you as it relates to help you improve your affordability. And I'm gonna tell you guys something that's not on the sheet today. I'm just gonna beat myself up. So I decided to go on this major budget this year. I went through my credit cards and I don't know how many subscriptions I had to cancel. So go through your credit cards, cancel those subscriptions, stop paying for stuff that you are not using, because that will help you better save for a higher down payment, insurance policy, or whatever the situation is. But you will be amazed of how many things that you're paying for right now that you forgot to cancel. Common myths about affordability, right? I need 20% down. No, you do not. As low as 3% down, even on a conventional loan. Yes, even on a conventional loan, you do not have to put 20% down. Should I wait until interest rates drop? Well, honey child, you might be waiting forever, right? And then when interest rates drops, just so you know, I was at open house with 50 people standing outside to bid on the same property. People were bidding $25,000 cash over list price. It was absolutely insanity. So lower rates are going to bring more people to the market. So if you have to buy something now and you can refinance when the rates drop, you're still benefiting. You're just not having to pay more for the property or go against the rush of all the people that are thinking this myth right now. There are probably 40% of the world not buying a house right now because they're waiting on rates to drop. Beat them, okay? Because I'm telling you, when rates do drop, you're going to have a lot more competition. I can't buy a home if I have debt, right? You can have debt. It's not about how much debt you have. It's about how much income you have versus the debt. If you make $10,000 a month and you have $5,000 in debt, if you make $10,000 a month and you have $5,000 because of the new Range Rover you bought, you know, all of your credit cards, the car that you co-signed for, if that adds up to $5,000, right? You basically exhausted everything and you don't have any room to purchase a home, because at 50%, remember we talked about 50%? At 50%, that $5,000 has already eaten up your income. But then you can make $10,000 a month and only have $1,500 in bills, or you can make $5,000 a month and only have $1,500 in bills, and you're better off than a person that made $30,000 a month with $15,000 in bills. So don't think just because you have debt you can't afford the home. It's your debt versus your income. If you make enough money to have the debt, then you can definitely buy the house. The power of the pre-approval. I say this on all my Mortgage Move Mondays. Your lender matters. You want to definitely Make sure you have a pre-approval, not a pre-qualification. Give us those documents, right? I had a client today. He didn't want to give me his tax returns, but it was good because I found out why. Now I found a different program where he doesn't need tax returns. But we need to know this stuff before you find a property. That's part of the pre-approval process, right? And you want to work with a lender, you know, that's willing to work on the weekends, that's willing to help you get your bids accepted. I was out at open house, hey Carol, this weekend, and I was able to see a lot of my clients. It was a hot property. A lot of people came out, and it was just nice to see them. But I put that work in. I knew I would probably see my clients. One of the hottest properties on the market, and I wanted to put that work in so that way, you know, I can see what's going on at one thing, and then I can give you all the information you need, and then you can have a very smooth process. So with that being said, that is my pre-approval for tonight. You can always apply. You can Google my name. You can scan the QR code. If you received the email from me, it'll be at the bottom of the email. I do want to give you a special invite to my next Zoom on Monday, March 24th. Next week, we're going to talk about renovation loans. I'm going to do a very detailed conversation. I try to make the Zooms 30 minutes. This one may be a little longer because we're going to go over renovation, VA, FHA, and 203K. If you scan that QR code, you will get the link. If you cannot make it and you scan that QR code, you will get a copy of it so you can watch it later. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go over everything renovation. You know, we're going to turn it up, and then I'm eventually going to bring some contractors in there too to start talking about how much things cost. So we're going to be going renovation crazy during the month of April because I really want to give you all the tools necessary. And hey, I am a renovation specialist, so that is what I'm here for. Next up, my foundation, Building Dreams Foundation, my non-for-profit. I am having a financial freedom path seminar series, right? This event is going to be right now. These are the tentative locations. However, we have gotten a very high response. So we may have to move our location, but if you want to scan, and it's green for St. Patrick's Day, I guess today, but if you want to scan the QR code for that, it's going to be a 4-week series. The first one is about funding your business. I'm going to have the banks in the building that have funding for your building. Retire with residential real estate will be the second week. We're going to talk about estate planning, wills, trusts, all of those things. Mastering the stock market will be the third week. Commercial real estate will be the fourth, and we're going to wrap it up with the estate planning and probate, right? So with that being said, we have a series of all the 5 components we feel like you need to build generational wealth, right? That is going to be right there for you. We are setting that up so that way we can get you going and get you all the tools that need to be dangerous. And lastly, y'all, we working this month. They got me working. I got events everywhere. On March 29th, Saturday at 10 a.m. to noon at the Royal Bistro Live, I had an event called the Wealth Symposium. It's on Black Friday. It will be on Black Friday every year. Once again, we're teaching about wealth. I have Ebony Lucas. I have State Representative LaShawn Ford. We are going to be in a building. This is a networking event. If you made it out to the expo, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll be able to meet and talk to some of the speakers. If you didn't, this is a way where you can kind of learn what we're doing before our big day on Black Friday. All these QR codes are separate, guys. So I am so sorry. So I did leave the screen up a little longer, but you can register for that. And then eventually we're going to have all of this on my website at loansbynatasha.com. So you can go in one place and get all the information and register for everything. But I just realized that we had this much going on. So we're definitely going to get this stuff uploaded to the website. Do we have any questions, Emeka? I think I can see them. No. Well, please stay connected with me. Follow me on Instagram, Loans by Natasha. I'm Natasha Robinson on Facebook, my website, and I will see you guys next Monday. We're going renovation crazy. So bring your questions, bring all your ideas. I look forward to helping you know what you need to know to get down the road you're trying to go. And I am Natasha Robinson, Loans by Natasha, MLS number 332074. You guys have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.